And hello everybody, it is I, Roguescaper, coming live to you once again. Welcome, Silver Scratch. Hope you're doing well today. Let me just get my screen reset here for some reason. And hope everyone's doing good today. So yeah, we are painting this quite large dragon today that was sent to me by a fellow follower, Customscaper. I did some preliminary airbrush work on it, but today we're going to be working on the details to really narrow this down. Something different than what I normally paint today. I'm kind of caught up on most of my Heroescape stuff, so we're going to paint some different things before the new waves start coming in. Welcome, Customscaper. Hope you're doing well. So start off, let's get some color on the mouth here. And I'm going to do my best to not knock into the camera or mess things up here, but I make no promises. We are using a magenta for the mouth. And let's get some music going as well here. Get me in the cozy vibes. It's been kind of rainy and cloudy the last couple of days, so I'm kind of just in a chill, almost sleepy mood, and I'm not like tired. I'm just kind of like, I want to cozy up and just watch movies all day kind of vibe. So if you got things to do as well, hopefully this can help you get some paint on your own models, because it's going to be probably lower energy tonight unless I kind of go on a rampage. But it's been a pretty big week for Heroescape. Lots of new reveals. I love to talk ad nauseum about those as well. Pretty awesome stuff. I'm really looking forward to getting some paint on them for sure. Welcome, James Bush. You coached up? No, I'm just a dad. I would love just to be cozied up in a blanket playing my Switch right now. I was almost tempted just to do it, but I was like, yeah, I should probably be painting. So we're just kind of reaching the inside of the mouth here. We're doing the mouth first, so we don't have to worry about having to tread over our teeth, which I usually do this out of order, so it's nice to kind of know the order I'm doing this in. Do I have a favorite figure for the new release? I'd have to say it's SI. Just from an aesthetic and power level, it's just a fun unit. There's lots of ways you can have fun with him. So yeah, he's pretty cool. I like Joan thematically, or Jean d'Arc thematically. I really like I like the dragon. He's goofy. He's not my favorite, but he's pretty funny. Dornipia is cool to have. The only one I really don't like is Kanok, and you know, I think it's fine. I just think it's the least interesting of the bunch. And Taylor's a little, I think, mediocre as well. I think he might get better if we have some new gladiators revealed, but for now he's kind of just all right. Waiting on your Horus Heresy Combat Force to arrive tomorrow. That's exciting. Big old box of Warhammer, I believe. I respect everyone that plays Warhammer. I just don't have the commitment to keep up with them all. But the people that love it. They swear by it. So it's nice having models that you could assemble. See, personally, I hate assembly models. That's really why I was never drawn to it, as I'm bad with glue. Caught up for now. Got my shipping notification for Joe's today. It should be arriving Monday, but I ordered them pre-painted. Even the battle box and the hero expansion. Yeah, Joe's is gonna be fun. I have some coming through. I have some review copies coming from Renegade, so Be expecting some reveals there. Quick question for the chat: if I was to make a review video of the new stuff, a lot of the style nowadays is just kind of unboxing. Would it be better for me to do the unboxing more as like a live event and then do more of an edited kind of cut out all the unboxing and a bit more scripted, or do you all like seeing how the packages kind of like look out of the box? Yeah, you gotta go to Denipa just because you wrote the book Escapers. So it was quite a project. Yeah, I was looking through that and I was like, props to you. I think you left a comment like, oh yeah, you left off these things. I was like, I'm surprised I even got like half of them. So yeah, it's that's a fun one. I think there's some funky builds with Denipa out there. I'm kind of waiting for Chris to update the builder so I can really start theory crafting. But no, I'm ready to get some new stuff in here and begin anew, so to speak. Nice pinky mall we got going on here. We're going to darken this down. A model this big is like I don't often do just because there's so much space to cover. But I thought it'd be kind of fun to do something different to that. Alright, we're using a giraffe brown from Procryl, and we're painting its fingernails now. Okay, yeah, so you vote for the later. I was kind of thinking that. I think everyone else does unboxings because that's kind of what more their style. But I like to edit. I would like to have things on the map, and I might just do an unboxing live one Thursday and just give like my run off the gun thoughts, and then just kind of then really go more deep dive into it. Is kind of what I'm feeling for this wave. Now the second question is, do you want it all at once, or would you rather like just a long video to have planned while you're doing things, or would you rather have a bunch of smaller individual videos? That's the I couldn't decide which one I would enjoy more. See, I like the longer form content just because I'm painting all the time, and you know, having stuff to listen to for a couple hours is very well appreciated on my end. Live react scripted later has basically no downside. That's true. The only downside is more work for me, which is I think why most people don't do it. But I'm happy to even take more of my run off the. I'm willing to put the legwork in if it's a little bit better of an experience, because I'm already kind of halfway there with how I do the turnstiles and stuff like that. It's already a bit of a process. I'm not going to be the first one getting the review out. I've just accepted my fate there. What would be easier for me to create, the shorter or longer videos? See, I like longer videos because, well, it's not necessarily a case of easier. It's more just a case that I don't have to find time to work on it multiple times. So I can just kind of pile through and get it all done all at once. So I might just put it all together and break it up into shorts. I'm trying to try out shorts. I'm kind of like hesitantly approaching them, but I think I'm too old to understand fully how to do them well. The tender age of 30. Sam Kanek Private Eye is probably my least favorite of the reveals. I love the character concept and Orc Detective and make a perfect tie-in novel. Yeah, I don't like hate it. I just wish I think I mentioned this elsewhere. My biggest problem I have with it is not the concept. I wish they just kind of leaned into it harder. Like, it's an orc private eye, but there's nothing in it that makes it warrant being an orc. It doesn't even have like chain grit synergy, so it's kind of like, I don't know, just make it a human. It'd be kind of cool, but it's a minor one. And also, I just do wish it had a bit more theme to it. It's just a little lacking. I think it's not even bad. Like, range attack of 4 is nice. It's just kind of all right to me. I run an extension to block all shorts in my YouTube home screen. Yeah, I need to do that. I'm not a fan of them. I respect people that know how to do them well, but I got too much stuff to do to waste time, and they're very very easy for me to waste time on. I love long form. That's more my calling. Not even long form. I'd say medium form if I was to settle on what I like to do. Where I like to keep things tight, but I'm not worried about making it only 10 minutes long. Like Pole Arm Lady or Dragon. Yeah, they're all pretty good. Pole Arm Lady is really just fun thematically. I don't even know if she's good, but at 40 points, you can't even be bad. Like, it's hard for you to be a bad figure at 40 points. That's one thing I do appreciate about all these new reveals, is just how much they realize, oh wait, a single attacking hero, no matter what their abilities are, will never be able to keep up with a squad of 4. Even the worst squad of 4 is better than a single attacking hero in most cases. Unless it's like something really strong like Raylan or whatever. But I like that I can field these heroes and not like have to sacrifice my whole army to put them in. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm impatient now. It's the way they do the cadence of releases is kind of like, okay, I don't have a chance to ever like enjoy the things in my hand because I'm always looking forward to the next thing. So like G.I. Joe and all the new stuff's dropping, but I'm more like, I just want to get SI4X in my hands, yeah. I was thinking doing like a pale yellow for his belly here. We'll start moving this up with a more of a desert yellow. Enjoy the long form content, usually playing breakdowns, some Talking Days or Suckscape in the background while I work around the house. Yeah, they are helpful to my cause. I always tell Talking Days, thank you for helping me get another model finished. Yeah, Suckscape does really good work too. As someone who appreciates editing and the process of it, I'm always excited to see a Suckscape video, because even a bad one is worth watching just from an editing perspective. Oh, so when you can expect to paint tomorrow? I do have them. They've made some progress, so they're getting on the road there. I just wanted to paint the dragon tonight, but they're there. If I have some time or if I get bored of the dragon, maybe I'll start doing some Morrow mixtures for these guys. So they're definitely on the to-do list. I've been doing a lot of experimenting with Morrow because I do want to make a Morrow video, but I'm really happy with where I got my formula at this point. I think we're about there to talk about it. It's also, I realized this month is my 3-year anniversary of doing YouTube, so expect some giveaways or some announcement videos coming at the end of the month. I'll have some stuff to give away, as I just want to say thank you to everybody that has supported me all these years. It's crazy. A lot has happened in 3 years, I'll tell you that. Sweet Morrow Walker 9000, yeah. Yeah, I haven't fully figured it out, but I think I'll just do some of the plates and hope kind of the wash mixture settles in. Thanks, yeah. It's been kind of looking back from where I started, where like Heroescape wasn't even like coming back. I kind of made this. I made it for a couple different reasons, but one of the reasons I was just dealing with being depressed about Age of Annihilation failing. To see the game produced and me to be a small part of it in that sense has been definitely encouraging. I've gotten to meet some really incredible people and go to some really great cons. So I'm just kind of grateful and happy to be a part of this community and just get to talk to you all. It's pretty nice. But yeah, the new stuff is coming out. I'm pretty excited. I am still looking forward to the stuff that I've kind of already forgotten about. It's I'm really just looking forward to Thorman. Thorman's kind of my guy, even though he's wonky. But Thorman with SI4X is going to be really, really fun. Mobile defense with some range opportunities and disengage if you tie down Thorman. Yeah, that's going to be spicy. If I remember the powers right. There might be some weird class restrictions. That's the one downside, is you do need to pay attention to the cadence of a lot of these new units, just because they're a little particular. Which isn't terrible, but it is easy to mix up, and you hate making like mistakes in like competitive games and stuff like that. So when I airbrushed this, I first primed it black with white overspray, and then I used a very dark blue-green and gradually made myself work my colors up to more of a kind of a yellower green. It's a great way to work with greens to make them stand out, is kind of alternate between having a mixture of blue, green, and yellow green, and kind of building up to that point. Now, I'm going to say before some D&D nerd calls me out, yeah, this typically green dragons are four-legged, but, you know, it's just the color. One, I like working with green on a big model like this. It's a lot easier to kind of know where to take the color. And two, I didn't have a big green dragon, so I don't think my players will care too much when it's burning them alive. Or rather, aciding them alive. I don't know what it's for. I might sell it or I might give it away. Depends on how I'm doing. It might be part of the giveaways at the end of this month. I haven't decided yet, because also I really do like how this one turned out. So I'm a little hesitant to give it away, but also I know it would make someone happy if they had it. So I'm back and forth on it, or I might just decide to sell it more straight up, just to justify some of my latest Heroescape purchases. I have not decided yet. Also would love to see some D&D gameplay. Yeah, I was thinking about it. The problem is D&D just attracts not as nice people as Heroescape. They're very pedantic sometimes, and like the people I play with are nice, but just random people on the internet, I don't know. I've been back and forth on it. Honestly, fun fact, I was originally going to start a D&D channel instead of a Heroescape channel. I was kind of torn between the two, and I decided to go with Heroescape just because I liked the community a lot more. But I was going to call it Critimatic. I was going to break down movie scenes and explain how to use them in your RPGs. So it's an idea that might get used at a later date, but for now it is it's on the back burner. Yeah, thank you once again, Custom Scaper, for sending this my way. I'm sorry it's been a while. I've been kind of wanting to finish some other bigger projects on my end, but I've been looking forward to painting this, so I know I do appreciate it. I always like getting goodies. I mean, nothing to hate there about getting goodies. All right, so let's use some gold and Aquila's yellow. It looked like Renegade's also sending me the Decker paint set, which I was happy about. I will be able to. I'll make a painting tutorial with just that set no other things, which I'm looking forward to doing. Okay, so we're gonna mix this yellow with a bit of that ochre, just to gradually lighten this up. Am I gonna paint up the terrain? I don't remember which terrain. Probably not. Oh, that terrain. Yes, yes. That was Herescape terrain. I do have that airbrushed. I probably won't do that on camera just because there's so much of it. That's kind of a airbrush slapdash. But I've started on it. It's all there, just waiting to be done. I have the memory of a goldfish. No, actually, I used it unpainted in one of my D&D sessions, so no, I definitely appreciate it. My players found an unexplored dungeon, which was nice. Worked very well for a cinematic confrontation. Yeah, I remember now. Like I said, I'm a little low energy today. Right now we're putting some texture and edge lining of this, just to really kind of have these darker tones kind of start speaking to us, you know, kind of act as the shadows. And then I'm thinly kind of just adding some more areas where I want the light to come. I think putting a thick, heavy wash on this, we might still do one just to kind of blend some colors. Would kind of dilute the colors here. Yeah, care package, definitely a custom scaper took care of me. That was nice. We're just using, let's darken this ivory just a bit here. Sending me more? Well, I appreciate it. Now it worked out tonight. I was like, I really don't know what I wanted to paint. I have a couple stray models left over, but they're things I want to make tutorials on. Like it's things I've like personally already painted. Like these are kind of the models I got going on here, but they're all stuff I kind of want to make a tutorial on, or they're just stuff I don't want to paint today. I'm working on a Scion tutorial, which is coming along. But my audio had some issues, so I had to rewrite that, re-record it. Because I was originally just going to do like a edited live session with them. But it's fine, it'll come out. Good thing about this model is it's going to be in focus a lot more than sometimes when I elsewise paint. Painting big models like this, though, is kind of cozy and relaxing. You just kind of can work on it in stages. You don't have to do it all at once. I'd rather do this than paint some knaves for sure. just picked up my first wet palette. Do you have any tips? Previously it was just going off a paper plate. Yeah, certainly. So wet palettes are a great tool to have if you're painting. The primary thing they do is preserve the dryness, I mean the flow of your paint by keeping it moist. Pretty much this is just a transparent piece of paper, usually something like a cooking sheet, a sponge underneath filled with water, and pretty much the biggest thing is you want to make sure it's properly sealed, and you don't want any moisture on top of this. Sometimes when you put the paper on, water will spill on top of this, so dab the top of the wet palette paper with a paper towel to make sure there's not little puddles, because here I'll show you. Like if there's a puddle here and I'm mixing paint, it's just going to get, I'm not in control of it anymore. I would also recommend, if you're starting off, avoid using metallics and washes as they have a tendency to flow and get into the mix. But pretty much you just take your wet palette, dip your paint in and pull it out so you get to a thinness you like, and that's it. Just gives you a lot more control. Depending on your paint brand, some paints are a bit more hydrophobic than others, so sometimes your paint can last, 3-4 days. Some times you'll have to switch it out every paint session. It just kind of depends on what paint you're doing. If you're using Army Painter, I know they last a bit longer. So yeah, just the big thing is put more water on the sponge than you think you need, and make sure the paper is kind of completely flat as much as possible. But yeah, it's if you use paper plates, it's pretty much the same thing. It helps by adding a bit of moisture to your paint to keep them a bit thinner than straight out of the bottle. Yeah, Army Painter will last a pretty decent time. Army Painter likes water a lot. So with Army Painter, I probably get, depending on how well I seal it and use it, about 4 days to a week. So if you're making like custom mixes and you don't remember what you're using, then a wet palette is great. Especially once the summer hits and the humidity rises, depending on where you live, your paint will dry out within minutes on a paper plate. And that's just kind of cost that goes down the drain. Especially if you have like a big glob that you're working on of a custom mix, and then it just all dries up and you have to keep on reapplying it. And it just helps it go off the brush a lot more. So, no, it's a good step on a painter's journey. If you are painting and don't have one, don't want to buy like a nice one, you can make one really easily with Tupperware. I use like paper towel and parchment paper or baking sheets, and you can make it for a couple bucks. I did that at SaskCon. I kind of made an improvised one. We're gonna actually dry brush this here. I think this bottom part. I'm in Wisconsin. I don't know what the humidity is like there, but I imagine it gets pretty high. Important thing with wet palettes too is not to, put too much water on the top when you're like mixing your paints. As you let it sit overnight, it may just cause it all to kind of blend and flow too much as it gets oversaturated. It's just something you got to keep an eye out for. And right now we're kind of just sketching where we want these highlights to go. We're not blending it too much, but we're just kind of building these values up slowly but surely with each layer. And you see me using this kind of dotting motion. This is called stippling. It's a great way of adding just a bit of texture or just kind of wear and tear on some areas. And it's also a good way of blending certain colors. You notice when I do this, the color isn't as stark because a bit of the color underneath is shining through. Been painting just over a year with the Heroescape Revival, mostly buying pre-painted. Did buy most of Gathering Storm and Thorn and Thunder. Comments unpainted though. So the price hikes. Yeah, it was getting a little pricey for those that wanted, a lot of a lot of those commons pre-painted. Even because honestly, the new wave, the difference between the painted and unpainted is actually really a good deal. You won't find even an amateur painter who will paint 4 guys for $10, unless they're a friend and they're just helping you out or something. But so it's a pretty good, at least in terms of the people that want to buy pre-painted, those new uniques and Secret of the Citadel. It's a great value. It seems a little high. Everything seems high, but yeah, most painters wouldn't even. I mean, unless you're helping a friend out, it wouldn't even be really worth their time to paint all that up. And at least the pre-paints are looking pretty good, so it's not like you're sacrificing a whole bunch. Price tags were pretty steep. Hope the new sets will be a lot hair cheaper. Yeah, definitely. It's it was pretty tough. I think I spent a little bit too much on it, honestly. I have to probably do some more commission work to make up for what I spent. But I'm kind of in a weird spot because I like to hold off and just get things when they're on sale, but also I like to have things when they come out so I can talk about them before they're talked about to death and no one cares. It's kind of on my end. You're definitely on a kind of a race against everyone else, a friendly race. Most of the other Heroescape YouTubers are super nice and super cool. And I think some people like having multiple perspectives, but in terms of, numbers and SEO and stuff like that, if you can get it out first and best, then you're in a pretty good spot. We're taking some Barbarian Flesh now and just adding some highlights here. Yeah, that wave is pretty pricey. I don't think I have a competitive version of everything, but fortunately they're coming out around my birthday, so my birthday list will be kind of filled up, which is nice. It's always nice having things to ask for. Yeah, I like uniques. I like that uniques are becoming more and more viable with each release. Someone at Renegade dev team is you know what? Commons are just too strong. They have just too much going for them, and there's not enough heroes with anti-squad attack or even really decent enough abilities. Only the good heroes are the ones that boosted squads. So I'm all for nerfing squads and boosting heroes. Because I think towards the end of the official run of Heroescape, for some reason, heroes just started getting priced so high. There was for some reason not a power creep, but a cost creep towards wave 9, wave 10 of Heroescape. You look at the Elf Wizards, you look at Wosaga, they're fun units, but I don't think they are powerhouses compared to other units. So I guess we get Delta, I think, to make some things more playable. I'm really looking forward to running Dernipa and some Elf Wizard builds. I think there's some really fun stuff there, especially in a VC Delta Elf Wizard build with some weird restrictions. That looks pretty fun. Because the elves really could use some healing. That was their biggest problem, is once one dies, they're just kind of worthless. Well, welcome for, if not for just a moment, Tails. Thanks for stopping by, and hope you sleep well tonight. I've been having a tough time sleeping. I've been having weird dreams lately. I had a dream last night that E.T., the extraterrestrial, fell out of my attic, but he was kind of like malicious, and I had to kill him by drowning him. And I woke up in a cold sweat because I didn't want to do that. Let's go down to a slightly smaller brush. These guys referring to his tiny teeth. And we're using more of like a pure ivory mix here. We'll be using some glazes just to tone these ones down. So while yeah, it was weird. It was unsettling. Not talking too much in this part. I am trying to focus a little bit on the details. I hate painting teeth. I think teeth are one of my least favorite things to paint. This guy's going to need a lot of touch-ups, for sure. Have I painted a Corvor in any of my streams? I feel like I have. I do have one I was looking to paint too. I meant to paint them on Halloween, but I forgot. So Halloween could be any time of the year. But next time I stream, I'll paint Corvor up if I don't have more fun things to paint. I might be doing just a bonus stream tomorrow, just because it's going to be storming a whole bunch, and I just kind of want to be chilling out with the rain falling. Some nice cozy vibes. So I might be, no promises, don't hold it to me, but it might randomly start streaming tomorrow. But yeah, Corvor is pretty easy in terms of painting. I mean, if you're using speed paints, he's really fast. You just put a couple slaps of speed paint on him. But if you're doing standard acrylics, I mean, the original model isn't that greatly painted. It's pretty just a couple colors on a model. I definitely prime brighter if possible to save you some time. But if you just have black primer, just slowly put some more layers on. Let's create a bit of a glaze. You just want like you just want to kind of balance the two tones, get like a more of a darker. For the wings, honestly, I would recommend using speed paint just because, or prime them black. Prime them black and dry brush them with a dark gray. That will save you a lot of time. For the body is just, you know, like a skeleton bone, and then do like a pale, like use skeleton bone with like a off-white for the skull, and then you're looking pretty good. But let's see, I think I have one I painted sometime. I think it was a 3D print, but definitely check the painting recordings. You might see one there. I'm like 30% sure. All right, so let's work on creating this glaze here. We have here what is glaze and wash medium for acrylic. This stuff's great if you want to reduce increase the spread of your paint while still maintaining the coverage. Pretty much just a fancy way of saying we're expanding our paint, but just making it more thinner, but not splotchy. We're pretty much making something a bit thicker than a wash, so it still flows and settles like one, but overall darkens the whole thing. And this is a burgundy we're using here. So this effectively kind of blends down those kind of rough, sketchy highlights I was applying. Yeah, and overall darkens it so it doesn't seem so pinkish and bright, while still having some of those brighter tones shine through. So we got some of the back and forth. Oh, I want to do anything for the spine here. The lazy part of me just says keep it the way it is and move on with my life. I think I'll probably just do that. Typically green dragons have the same colored spine, so. And we're using just like a dark golden brown as a base layer for these spines here. Yeah. That's why we keep you around, James. You have the good suggestions. Yeah, just keep it as. I'll do some extra highlights on it, but I don't want to keep it a different color. That's too much work. I got a whole other dragon to paint here, you know? This is kind of like a dragon I'll probably pick on for months and just kind of do little details here and there. Well, we're making some pretty good headway today. The airbrush saved me a lot of time. Saved me dozens of hours. There's just so many corners I have to make sure I hit and don't miss. Custom Scaper just gave me a bunch of homework, is what they did. Yeah, for most of the new reveals, I'm pretty happy with their color schemes. It feels like they've really kind of narrowed down what good colors to use, which I'm happy with. Even the Ice and X have strayed away from the bright yellow, and there's actually a lot more whites and creams, which are kind of fun to teach and fun to paint with once you kind of figure it out. They're a bit harder, but no, I'm just looking forward to painting those models. I really like Corvin too. I didn't talk about him, but he's just a funny little guy. A little dead raven guy that can do some really funky shenanigans. Yeah, this whole wave was a big boost to Elf Wizards. Do I have the starter Decker paint kit yet? No, it is, I think, in the mail currently, but I'll be getting it pretty soon. Yeah, most of it's pretty good. For at least we've only seen the Paint Masters, but even the stuff that's not Paint Masters, I don't like how the G.I. Joe have eyes. Like that, I think was a mistake for the pre-paints. I think it makes them look a little bit cheaper. For most part, you either do eyes really well or you don't do them at all. It's better to not do eyes and not, because it's just such a strong focal point of your model. And also it kind of does go against the aesthetic of Heroescape. So I'm against eyes on humanoid sized figures in Heroescape. Like imagine if all your samurai had the little eyes painted on them and they look like crappy HeroClix figures. Oh, the samurai! I forgot about them. The horse samurai. I'm definitely going to be doing a very high level paint job on him. Be doing some glow effects, and I'm going to be taking my time with him. I'm sad Eel and Fafua don't come unpainted, because I wanted to do a nice job for them in honor of Derek or Fekna, as we talked a lot about that. But I like to have like one set of pre-painted squads, because honestly, just for comparison. But I've been kind of moving away from the heroes. Just don't got room on the shelf for both. Already planning on kit bashing you and Taylord. I really love playing the originals, and the new model hurts my soul a bit. I haven't seen them. I get what they're going for. I think I understand the conceit behind Taylord. Like, you look at some form of like gladiators, and it's tough because Conan. I mean, Taylord had that typical kind of Conan exaggerated hero body, and even if his body is supposedly more realistic, it's less, we're playing a fantasy game. Like, I'm still back and forth on if Concan should have gray hair, but I've decided I like it. I think it's a cool upgrade to his character, if not inconsistent with other characters not appropriately aging. Like, it's been a rough 10 years for Concan. But no, it's a pretty easy thing to kit bash. There probably is 3D prints online you could find of Taylord holding a flame sword. I know Master Roshi has created some versions for cons in the past. the way New Taylor looks is how like Boba Fett looks in like the new Star Wars shows, like Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett and stuff like that. Like he's not like, it's tough because fat is used so discriminately, and I don't like to just use it. Like he's muscular. It's just not it's not how we perceive muscular, and also it's just muscles tend to hold on to people differently as they age. So, like I said, it's accurate, if not as much of appealing to that fantasy that you want to have in the game. We're just glazing a bit of this ochre onto these fangs. I'm really liking how that's turned out. Have I ever done any AOA figures to match the original HasLab Art Gen Con models? Let's see, have I? I know I have some I'm saving to do in those forms. Part of me wants to do just a, oh, what's his name? Rakchot, and that like original greenish they had him painted up. I was like back and forth if I wanted to do one of those red Zenithrax from the original premiere. And I have an extra Fiabani I'm hoping to paint up like the original like blue armor. Like I have it like prepped. I just haven't gotten around to paint another Fiabani yet. Like here's the base layer. I'm going to try to make it look like exactly like those pre-painted models. But my own personal pirates, I did more of kind of inspired, where I didn't have them have as much bright colors. But for the most part, I kind of paint to help people match whatever canon colors exist. So I haven't had a lot of time to repaint some ones in the style I would like to have them in. Iron Lich never had any canon color schemes, right? Yeah, no, he didn't. I wonder what his canon color schemes would have been. Yeah, it seems fairly simple from what I've done for it. There's some free programs in Windows that let you kind of clip pieces of 3D models, and then you can just kind of merge them together or print them separately and glue them. So I'm by no means a master, but it seems like it's just a couple YouTube tutorials worth of learning things. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Answer Akatha's. I'm sure I'm saying how you say your name wrong. I had a Maladrix kind of inspired by the original one, but I kind of veered away from those colors as they were a little bit too gaudy. It was so long ago. Honestly, I think I'm just lazy and don't want to look them up. But I've always respected the pink knave. I've never been bold enough to do it. Yeah, the original Zenithrax is probably the most iconic one. I think making Aquila's Dragon pure yellow was kind of a mistake. Early AOA had so much yellow in it, and I'm glad we've moved past that to some more manageable colors, because painting yellow is just not fun. I've been doing this for a while, and like you can do it, and it's not like impossible. But you just have to do it right. You can't just decide halfway through, oh, I want to paint this yellow. You have to kind of say at the beginning, I want to paint this yellow, and build up from there. So we're just taking some of this pure yellow here and just kind of bringing up these highlights. But no, I definitely like the original Synthrax color scheme a whole lot more. I think it had more personality. It just told a better story. I think the polar bears are pretty much the same. They didn't go through any color changes. I'm trying to think of if there was any big, like, what was the biggest departure from AOA to actual production. I like what they did with the Dryans a lot more in the campaign teasers. They had a little bit more personality. It felt like a lot more like embodiments of a forest than they do now. And I did I tried to paint my dreadnoughts very similar to the preview shown, but they're very similar to the final product. But I tried to use a lot of similar techniques in it, and I was really happy with how those guys turned out. Yeah, the Scudire. I honestly like how the Scudire look now for the most part. The only thing I would have changed is honestly Thyraxis. I don't like how the colors. There's a lot I don't like about Thyraxis. I don't like how the colors are divided, and you have like these big just spots of brown that aren't very interesting to look at. Doing Maladrix purple, orange, green, taking ages. Yeah, those are a tough combination of colors to work together. They're all kind of competing for your layers there. Well, let's get a better dry brush. If I can find one. I like the purple skin humanoid Scudire of the Haslab. Yeah, I kind of like it too, especially now that we have Einar Scudire. I'm definitely going to be kind of painting them differently. I want those ones to kind of have the purple skin, kind of divide them apart, just to kind of show that they're from a different hive. Yeah, I thought that was pretty fun. Yeah, I'm trying to almost want to look them up. Yeah, it should have been, honestly, it would have been so cool if they colored it that way. It would have like given some lore to like, oh, the Scudire found this mutated Nagrub and rides it around. I think it's more interesting than the lore we got for said Nagrub or for said Dragoon. I don't know. It would have been fun. People would have been happy. A little Morrow on the field with a bug. It would have been some more unique storytelling. And also, you're only playing, at least up until recently, Dragoon with Nagrubs, so you kind of want some, at least, thematic cohesion in your army. I really like the Death Chaser Adelburn. I've painted a few of those, and those are pretty fun when you see them on the field. I might be painting one of my Scudires, my Dragoons, on an Einar theme, because I think they might be decent with the infantry. Flying Nagrubs would be fun. Almost just like even, it feels like with the release of another Hive Lord, we have some form of Hive Lord bonding and coming. I love some like bulky, like just super like beetle-like the Morrow kind of splice like the Scudire. It just made these like big beetle Nagrubs would be kind of fun. Make them fly. Make more Morrow fly. Yeah, they definitely they definitely committed to the bit. It's I don't know how I feel about it, but it's nice that the raiders are never for want of options. There's a lot of fun raider builds out there. I'm looking forward to trying out. I like the raiders more than the frost claws. I like a wide bonding pool where you can kind of tweak your army constantly. That's pretty fun to me. But do they get too many things? It's tough to tell. I feel like the Raiders were kind of like a universal patch for a lot of guys that just needed bonding. That's kind of what the Death Knights were. Kind of fill that role. But instead of, I don't know, I can't tell which is better, Death Knights or Raiders. Like, Death Knights are definitely more restricted, but they're common, which is, you know, always nice. But they don't have enough output to justify their common. I don't know. Death Knights have been just getting more and more love. Yeah, they have a lot of cool options. It's like you can consider fielding Cossamet with the Raiders. That, like, honestly, like a Delta Cossamet isn't the worst case, especially with all the other relentless things you can kind of now field in a unified army. Like, it's, I don't think it's the best choice, but what's he at in Delta, like 60, 50? I don't know now, but it's not a waste of a guy now. And then that's not even talking about the Valiant synergies, which are, I think, a lot more impactful than the Relentless ones. Like, the Relentless things are just usually heavy hitters, but they're not like, besides like Evil Raylan, which is nice to have kind of a use for her in Contemporary. She was kind of getting pushed to the sidelines just because of her activations. Like, I think she'll be pretty good. Like, you can do Evil Raylan as well as New Taylord or Loviatak, and actually Evil Raylan, Loviatak, and Raiders right there. Those are some pretty fast Raiders. They're getting to battle. Or you can do a Concan build with Fritz. There's just a lot of things you can do. Yeah, I didn't watch the full thing, just because I was busy that day with all the other reveals. But from what I saw, it looked pretty fun. It's just nice where you have a unit that effectively says, you need a bonding option, here you go. You can pick your choice. Which is nice, it makes them really flexible. And they're low enough cost that they could kind of slot in to some pretty interesting metas. Like, they'll be really spicy in like Rule of 9, I think. And even if you just want to just get some activations out of your strong hero, then kind of pair them up with something else that bonds with them. Like, you can kind of run them with Krug and Arrowgrets now, and that's a pretty interesting army. I don't think it's good. I don't know what's good or what's not. It's hard for me to tell what's good and what's not. It's usually until I lose with them a couple times, I'm like, oh, this is bad. But as a person who really enjoys army planning, there's just so much, there's a buffet of things to consider. And as a person who really likes building niche, suboptimal builds, yeah, I'm eating very well. I'm going to be running some bad things, I think, just to try them out. Let's see, how am I feeling about this guy? Am I getting bored of painting him yet? I might be getting there. Let's tone down his teeth a little bit. And suboptimal sometimes means more fun. Yeah, I like how Adam from Hexhala puts it. Heroescape is about having fun, and sometimes winning is just fun. But I just don't like running like standard cheese armies. I'm playing in Chris Perkins' online cheese event, and I can't bring myself just to bring your standard heavy grit army, even though I know like it's the best. I like to kind of go beyond what the meta is, like throw people off guard. But there's some, I think Reverse the Whip is going to become dead as a format. is what I foresee, just because now there's so many options. No one can kind of be prepared or know how to run all these different options. I think we killed reverse the whip with some of these new releases. Like, if I give you my weird Thorman build, you're gonna have a tough time, and you're gonna complain about it. The unit I'm actually most looking forward to using, like in the theory crafting sense, is Mindbender. He has a lot of weird things he can do. Because nothing he does is tied to order markers. So there's a lot of play there. Anytime you get a range figure with 4 defense and the ability to move up their own defensive actions is always nice. That's one thing I love about Newscape, is that there's a lot more commitment placed to army development and order marker management. Like, it encourages you to diversify your army compared to 5 times commons and a hero. You know, like it gives you some more tools in your toolkit, which I really appreciate. But also there's enough there that if you do just want to run that there's some viable options. I think Contemporary is going to grow into a more palatable format for a lot of people. I think right now Contemporary is kind of like a rock, paper, scissors. There's not a real way to surprise anyone. It's this beats this beats that. And now I think there's just going to be, Gen Con this year is going to be so wild. It's like, no one's going to know what the meta is. I think even when the meta floats to the top, there's going to be so many different, more answers to it. At least I'm hoping. It might just be Troopers. That is also just everyone plays Troopers, which I'm hoping. I'm upset about Troopers. I think they were overcooked. Unknowingly. It feels like if Troopers just had 5 range, they'd be fine. But they do a lot. Yeah, no, I'm glad. I mean, it's really fun to be a Heroescape fans right now. Like, we're eating pretty good right now. All right, I think I'm gonna take a break from this guy for a bit. I'm reaching a point where I'm happy with at least this stage of development. Let me do the eyes, actually. I think I need some water. I think my voice is giving out here. Yeah, for the most part. I see Avalon Hills, what they're doing with Hero Quest, and I don't know. I like the Hero Quest. I like where it started, but I think Hasbro has sunk its teeth too deep into Hero Quest and is actively trying to kill that game. So we've avoided some of that. Can't wait for Shadow Tiles to be useful for once. I just can't wait for everyone to have Shadow Tiles. I got one of the sets I actually ordered, the Cavern set, and you get a good helping of Shadow Tiles. So it's nice to have them for the common man. And there's a lot more play with them. Like, there is a lot more abilities that reference them. I think Drow might uptick in usage. And very curious to see how the Rannoch Vipers are. I think Rannoch Vipers, people are sleeping on them. I think people are just don't know how to build an army around non-synergistic, non-bonding type of things for the most part. I think they're pretty interesting, especially in the contemporary meta. I see them as you get 2 or 3 squads of them. But I think there is some room for... I think if you run Rannochs with like Lanerva, I think there's some really or Ranox with the 4th Raylan iteration. Like, I think there's some fun play there. I have this weird, in VC land, I have this weird Colborn build with Ranox that I really like, that I'm going to run sometime. Pretty much you can just switch to Ranox whenever you need to, and they have enough movement that they can really surprise people. I think people are underestimating, just like, these guys will play like Gorillinators. Like, for the most part, I don't think they'll be really good, but when they're good, when someone knows how to use them, they come into play, you're like, you have so much board control. Because it's 7 move, 6 range, like, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, it gets a lot of heat, but it's nice to know that it's getting out to more people. I mean, I'm having a fun time going to active tournaments and competitive scene, and I like that there's stuff to talk about. I was operating this channel when HeroScape was considered dead, at least in terms of a public eye, and I was trying to run a painting channel for a dead game for miniatures that are already pre-painted, and that was a lot tougher back then. That was a little bit easier. Dead in the sense not actively produced. I know there's a vibrant and powerful community behind it all, but you know what I mean. I mean, ScapeCon this year has like 120 plus people going to it, where the first year I went, it was kind of maxing out around like 60 to 70. So it's just, it's definitely growing, at least in terms of where I can go to events and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm glad we have some good terrain coming out. It's not just all deconstructive. I don't know how I feel about mushroom abilities. I haven't had time to parse it yet, but I think they're cool. I like the mushrooms. Let's see, do I want to blend down a bit? What do I want to do here? What do I want to do with my life? Maybe we could do some touch-ups. If I can find my dark green. Yeah, I am curious. I foresee competitively that they don't have the blossoming ability. I feel like that's too swingy. But I think they might keep their because like you're at like a take one tournament and you destroy these trees, and are they gonna have like extra trees on the side? Like how I don't know how it's gonna, or extra mushrooms on the side. I don't know how it's going to fully come about. But they're cool. They'll definitely be showing up in a lot of my videos and home games. Hope not the same way doors are used. Yeah, I hope that they don't shy away from them being destructible objects. Because like in competitive, doors are just kind of either abandoned or used specifically for scenarios. The fact that doors are just impossible to kill has left like a really negative taste in the mouth of players, whereas I think destructible objects should be something easy to destroy. Like the fact that the mushrooms have 0 defense is very encouraging. Let's see, do we want to go up to a brighter? Get some bright green going up in here. Yeah, if anything, it'll just be cool line of sight blockers. I can also see them as just standard trees in competitive, at least non-renegade section competitive events. But yeah, I'm interested to see. I don't think ships will be used that much as I like the pirate ship design. I think those are going to be tossed to the wayside for competitive events. I just think they're too gimmicky for some of the high level players. Yeah, I'm getting there. I've been poking around at him. He's taking some wounds. Hopefully he doesn't roll a 6 to recharge his breath weapon, but we're getting there. Kind of stop paying attention. I'm just doing things to him now, which I think is probably the good way to go about painting him. No, I got some of the more tedious things done, which is nice. Yeah, battlements are. I wish they were. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about battlements. They're kind of funky. The problem with battlements is you have to remember their height and movement. I've seen them sometimes in a few maps, just for some kind of weird barriers. But I've never liked maps I've played them on. They're usually on the side of the map doing nothing. But they're really only good line of sight blockers for like nag ropes and stuff like that. But honestly, like a taller battlement structure, like twice as tall, would be really cool to have. Maybe something that I wish Heroescape could have had a half cover rule. Like if you can't see the full model, then they get to add one to their defense or something. I think that would make tactical positioning a lot more viable than it is, because right now it's just the highest spot on the map is the most important. And I think having some key defendable locations, I think would be nice. I do think they need some anti-melee terrain, just a little bit. Just currently, it's pretty anti-range, but maybe some cactuses or something if you move next to it causes a debuff or something. Because right now, like, I know melee needs the help, but also if you get swarmed by Romans, you're just kind of done. Okay, we're getting there. We get some layers done. Do I want to give him a yellow eye while we're at it? How long has it been? It's been an hour and a half. Yeah, I wish super strength expanded beyond Marvel. Doors are easy. That's true. Doors are but a inconvenience for the Incredible Hulk. Yeah, it's definitely one of those ideas that has been talked about. Should Scape just have symbols instead of even having like a flying text or a lava resistant text? You just have that. You have the super strength symbol on the card. I'm back and forth on it. I haven't reached a consensus. Like when I played the Marvel growing up, which I played a lot of it just because I thought it was cool. I was into comics. My dad was into comics, so we both like recognized and knew the characters. But we didn't even know that they had the super strength ability just because it never, we're young and I was dumb. But it's definitely something that is tough to fully, like, you have to kind of know what it is. But I could see it making a return. It'd be nice to have some symbols just to save up tech space. Like, does lava resistant need to be a whole part of the card? I don't know. I like that we have keywords for flying. That's nice. Flying symbol, stealth flying symbol. I think there is some fun play with it, especially for abilities, where you can just say, you know, kind of Magic the Gathering or other game systems, where if it has this attribute on their card, because I think there's some fun design space for, like, if they have the lava resistant marker on their card, it does more damage, or if it has the, you know, snow resistant, it does half damage or something. You know, like there's some fun interplay, I think, with symbols. Escape is always at a crossroads of, do I get more complex or do I get more simple? I personally think we should nuke the basic side of the card. I think it is a waste of time. I have a 6-year-old, and he can play the basic side of the card, but even then, he's smart enough to understand wounds. Like, you don't need the abilities per se, you just can still do that. But I never liked how basic side never even had wounds. It's just kind of there as a... I get why it's there, but I think the game is not marketed in that way anymore. And it's just kind of like a weird relic that no one uses. G.I. Joe versus Spider-Man is a reality now. Yeah. I still don't know how I feel about the G.I. Joe. I'm back and forth. The units are good enough where I'm pacified. As a person who likes the lore and stuff like that, I think it's messy. Kind of like how D&D is just a part of Heroescape lore, and it makes it messy when you want to talk about it. There's a lot of back hoops you have to do, and you can't just say Valkyrie died. You have to say another Valkyrie died. But also, it is a game that is perfect for crossovers, so you have to kind of give it that. I'm hoping someday we get some Star Wars synergy. I know we have some Star Wars board games on the market, war games on the market now, so I think it's pretty unlikely. If somehow Renegade said, hey, Shatterpoint, your game's not selling too well, we'll just put these models in the box and sell it, I would be happy. I'll be honest, the Super Shrink Symbol is larger than text would be. It's been a hot minute since I've looked at a Marvel card. I will be honest. I haven't looked at that in a while. I like Marvel just because of my dad. Like, I've played so many Marvel games where we played games, and my dad is a not an impatient man, but he's a get her done type of guy. He's like, all right, let's play. Like, honestly, I never got to play. He never had the patience for many board games, so we always played Heroescape together. So he's like, give me one guy that's the strongest in the army. So I always just gave him like Abomination or Hulk or something, and he had fun just not having to worry about that and beating me with one guy, as I had, you know, some weird army I put together because I thought the guys were cool. Growing up, I never knew that commons were like a thing, or never just got around to buying them. So I only played with like one squad of Romans my whole life growing up, and so rambling to the point where I don't really know what I'm talking about anymore, but that's fine. Didn't Craig Van Ness's team design an entire unreleased Star Wars set? That's the legend. I know that maybe whether it was designed or planned, you know, what extent of the planning it was, but it definitely was mentioned and an urban legend that existed out there, which I would have loved to see. At that time, they could have just, you know, used Wizard of the Coast Star Wars minis, but some Heroescape style and sculpted Star Wars minis would be my ultimate dream. That or Lord of the Rings. I think Lord of the Rings isn't a chokehold by Games Workshop though, so odds of that happening are pretty nil. I was talking about this. All conversations eventually end this way, but I think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would fit really well. It's kind of, I think, I know a lot of people who just be, it's fun enough to fit into the worldscape, but also kind of serious enough where they have true combat potential. Although I don't know if we need more ninja synergy, but it'd be pretty fun. It'd be a pretty fun. I'd like to play Casey Jones and just whack people. They're very thematic and iconic, so I think they would translate well. I think it would be better for them to kind of like diversify their IPs. Like I don't think they need a full-on Predator release. I think they need like an 80s sci-fi movie horror pack. I think would be a better way to go about it. Like how some other games do. So like I put like Alien and Predator and like, you know, a couple different things in the same pack. Or just like an 80s pack. Have like a Back to the Future Marty McFly with just like kind of group things and a wide swath of different details. I think Transformers would be tough, just because transforming is part of the name, and so you would have to have a lot of model switching, which I think could be done. Also, scale's tough, but I think if they did some of the smaller Transformers, I don't know much about Transformers. I can't speak to possibilities of it. Darth and Luke were playtested officially in some table somewhere. Oh well, that's exciting and saddening at the same time. I would have bought that set so much. See, I think the Clone Wars era is better for Hero Escape than the Rebel era, but I would take both. I think droids and clones just match like the scale of like what's needed. They're like strong enough and not like iconic enough that you can still make it canonical if you want. Also, I'm using a bright yellow ochre for these bright highlights here. Crossover variety packs, yeah. I think that's the way to go. Like we don't need 10 alien units. I think 1 or 2 would satisfy the itch. Maybe a slasher pack, some more themed for like holidays and stuff. I think would be really fun, if not overdone elsewhere. But if I had to choose, I would kind of I like a smorgasbord of things to kind of choose from instead of we have to try to figure out how to make 20 sub units for I don't even know, for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like we could. I think TMNT has that potential, but like let's say we wanted to do Star Trek. I think actually Star Trek has a lot to choose from too. I don't know much about Star Trek. I don't know what I'm talking about. But a thing that you really just want the iconic guy and everything else is just extra. Hello and listening. Welcome, Bill. I think Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and treat them kind of like the Wormlings were their heroes, but can bond with each other. I could see that. I don't know much about Power Rangers. I know it has kind of like a fan base. To me, it always seemed like a really kiddie thing, but maybe that's just because I don't understand it or never engaged with it too much. But I think Power Rangers is definitely going to be the next thing we see coming down the pipeline. Because I think it'd be fun for Renegade to tie into some of their other IPs, kind of have like an IP pack, like Vampire the Masquerade with 1 My Little Pony unit. Like I'll allow one gimmicky My Little Pony unit. That's as much as I'll allow, just to kind of say it's there. I'm not even a My Little Pony fan, but I think it would be funny to have it in the game. Like I think it would be funny if they didn't model it after My Little Pony, but just made like this really detailed like animated horse character that was clearly inspired by My Little Pony. Like keep the art style consistent. That's honestly the thing I was thinking is like we have Maladrix. Well, we have aliens with Maladrix. Like you don't want to step on thematic toes. But honestly, with like a Ripley and like in a mech suit, like that'd be more fun, I think. I would really like I think it would be funny to have like a Monty Python Knights of the Round Table pack. I think that'd be kind of like a goofy one that could work. I think there's room for a little bit of fun releases that are still like combat viable. Not too much. You don't want it to be like desaturated, but like I'd like one funny pack. Just kind of like a meme pack. Just one. Released on April Fools for a limited time. You get some funny characters that are officially added to the game. Would be kind of fun. Just to watch the forums explode for no other reason. Just join. How long have you spent on this? How much more time do you expect to invest in? Looks great. So far, I'm at 1 minute 33 and 14 seconds. How much more time do I spend to invest in this? I don't know. I'm probably getting towards the end pretty soon. I'm mainly just because my voice is giving out, but the conversation's going pretty good, so I might stay around. Depends on what I want to do after this. I'm still catching up on the Star Wars Vision anime, so I do kind of want to watch that tonight, but I don't know. To answer your question, I don't know when I'll end. Probably soonish, but not like immediately. But overall, how long do I spend to plan on this? I got a long more time to plan on this. We're doing some basic stuff here. We're gonna be doing some more smooth blending, bringing things up, bringing things down. Let's see here. Oh, the figure itself. Yeah, the figure is getting there. It's probably got a while to go. We have a lot of touch-ups to do. Kind of depends. I want to definitely bring up some of the green areas and do some more actual highlights, but probably a couple more hours, I'd say. If I had to guess, probably 3 or 4 more hours to get to a spot where I wanted. I'm not doing a pro paint job or anything on this. I'm just trying to practice some new techniques on a bigger model. So I guess whenever I get tired of painting them, you'll be done. A true artist never finished. It just kind of quits at some point when they're tired, when they do something else. Is this a Synthrax proxy? This is more a, Synthrax, it's about the wingspan of Synthrax for sure. This is just more a model that will go on my D&D shelf for some other models. It was given to me by a viewer of the channel, a custom scaper, just to paint up. So I'm kind of painting it up as a thank you to sending it my way and to send to my D&D players when they start misbehaving. But no, it's just I like to paint scape a lot, but I like to test other models, to test new, build your skills. If you only paint one kind of thing, then it definitely does kind of limit you on what you want to try out. And since I don't have to like teach anyone how to do this, it's just I have a lot more freedom. Yeah, but I definitely want to blend down. I'm kind of working on this belly area. I kind of don't know how much I want to blend it down and make it smooth. I'm still kind of internally debating that. Mouth is looking really good. I'm happy with how that mouth is at least looking in the rough. We're getting there. This is just this is a fun one for a stream because there's lots of layers to build up on. Let's see if we get some eyes going on here. Just to compare sizes. Do I got one nearby? I know I do somewhere. I got too many other axes. No, I like he's nearby. I just had one. I have like 3 painted Synthraxes hanging around. So. Okay, so let's get some white going. I don't have a lot of practice painting big eyes. Usually just the little dots I have to paint. Oh, if I can just find where I put my white paint at, maybe. Easy breezy. You know, we'll use off-white. I think that will look actually better. Since Heroescape already had Army, man, G.I. Joe was able to be additive instead of crowded and explored theme space. I agree. Like, I'm not super familiar with G.I. Joe, so they just kind of feel like other Army units thrown in the game. So, or other like agent units or whatever. It's not distracting. It was a very good first entry, and I really appreciate how it really is designed to build around classic units. For better or for worse, it's fluid, which is nice. No, I was kind of an old crony about the G.I. Joe at first, but they've won me over. I've played some online games with them. They're kind of fun. The models are good. I'm actually like mad the art is so good on them. I'm like, now I gotta love these guys. It's tough because G.I. Joe, as far as I know, isn't like an active IP. Like, it's kind of more of a nostalgic IP. It's not like, oh, I'm really into G.I. Joe, I'm going to go watch the G.I. Joe show that's on right now, or read the G.I. Joe comics. I don't know if they do or do not even still exist. I know time has passed, they did. But it's kind of like, it's like, even if I did get really into it, there's not really like a road to end on. Yeah, at least they try. I think they did a pretty good job, honestly, with it. I think the heroes are a little strong, but like I said before, I'd rather have 2 strong heroes than 2 strong squads. I think the squads, troopers especially, are a little strong. Although I've never played them or fought against them, so that is purely conjecture. They might be dog water, and we're all just freaking out over them over nothing. But just anytime you have a 4-man squad, that's one thing I don't like about Scape. I don't think commons should have 4-man squads. I think that is just too much activation for a cheap little squad unit. Ninja botting with Jinx and Kakamura. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I like the ninjas getting some love. Always nice. And I like the Tanukis. I'm a Tanuki fanboy, so the fact that they got some more integration, I'll not be complaining on my end about that at all. No, I think it's really fun. My dad is really into G.I. Joe, so I'm really excited to surprise him and play some games with him in that regard. Maybe for Father's Day, I'll play a game with him and my sons, and we can have a special Father's Day special. It's coming up, I think. In a couple months, several months. That's how I think nowadays. Coming up is like 3 months away, 4 months away. They'll be here around the corner. A lot of the painting like this is kind of bringing things up and then bringing them back down a little bit and just kind of going back and forth. I might be doing a thin kind of glaze on this just to kind of blend these colors a bit more. Like, I've told him, but I don't think he doesn't know about them. Like I said, like, he's not like a super strong gamer, but he likes to get with me on my level as much as he can. So I said, "Oh yeah, Snake Eyes is coming to the game." He's like, "Oh cool, can't wait to play him." But that's about the extent of it. The only problem with G.I. Joe is there isn't a strong, just a super strong figure that he can play one of, so. Which I feel like this version of Snake Eyes is a little underpowered. Like, even I'm not a G.I. Joe fan, and I know that Snake Eyes is pretty cool. So right now we're using a very thin layer just to kind of soften some of these harder points to make it look a little bit less kind of stark. We kind of spend a lot of time kind of sketching these out. But I like this style of belly because it's very well segmented, so there's a lot you can do with the highlights. Reading the Valkyrie official scenario, Secret Citadel feels like a direct sequel. It does. I wonder, honestly, where the Citadel is geographically on Valhalla. It feels like we're going into Murkheim territory, but you know we're Murkheim, formerly known as the Underdark, but not the D&D Underdark. The Underdark that just happened to exist in Heroescape. No, it definitely feels like we're touching on some themes established. It felt like when D&D took over Heroescape, it felt like they took the story beats that they were planning and kind of merged them with Heroescape. So maybe we have access to those original plans and we're kind of going back and revisiting them. Because like Valkyrie was kind of set up for a long time, and I don't think he was ever meant to be a two general leader that was a D&D only type. But like I think Valkyrie, what we're seeing at least in part with Revna, is kind of picking up the details of Valkyrie. I think Valkyrie was a lot more of like a mad dog on a leash, which I kind of like that characterization. It's taken Revna a bit to get even a bit of character, but after a few weird missteps in the beginning, I think we're getting to a spot that I appreciate. My Snake Eye's not on the Cobra side. I guess he's the good guy. I don't know. Aren't they like brothers or something? Or like both trained at the same mat? I know that they have some weird connection, I think. I actually don't know that. My knowledge, I need someone who is really into G.I. Joe. I need to find them and have them on the channel, because I don't know how well like the theme is represented on these cards. Like for a lot of the D&D cards, since I play a lot of D&D, I'm like, oh yeah, there's some really fun callouts or like design things that are kind of built into these cards. Sometimes it's just mechanically. But I don't know how well G.I. Joe is integrated, like on a fan of G.I. Joe. Like, what are they thinking? Let's see. Let's go more of a yellowy green here. Just exploded a new AP by squeezing the bottle too hard. That's we call that a rite of passage in this business. If you're Peyton, that's going to happen to you eventually. If you're oh. I think we might be calling the stream here. My secondary camera just turned off. So, yeah, I guess this is as good as time as any to stop it. We'll see if it turns back on in a second. We can finish some things up. But I'm using my phone for the camera because it's better focus, and I realized it wasn't plugged in. But I might be able to reboot it up. If it has any problems at all, though, we'll call it for the night. Making some pretty good progress. I agree with you, James. We're getting there. Head comparison. But yeah, GBusy, that is a rite of passage. Every person that that paints with AP has over squeezed and over oversaturated their palette with too much paint. It helps to have a needle on hand to declog. But yeah, one of us. Dig the Dragon Mega Quahan vibes. Yes, it's Quahan stuffed inside of Quahan. Like, I just doubled all Quahan stats. That's competitively viable, right? Oh, hey, look, we got back on. Okay, that's great. Avoided a disaster. So you all got me rambling for a few more minutes, then, I think. If I can find where I put my stuff. Aha. My noble dry brush. Fighter leaves the Alliance because of Valkyrie. It feels like a precursor to the Umbral Covenant. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And where, at least in the D&D lore, it was always kind of funny where Vidar sees 2 units get summoned, and he says, "That's too much for me. I'm out." So it's nice. It definitely. I agree with what you're saying. It feels very thematically picking up on some lost threads. There's a lot of kind of mystery concerning like the creatures and the denizens that came before, because like there's giants and the precursors, for lack of a better word, of the lore, and it'd be nice to explore that a little bit more deep, I think, because this is how much of a Heroescape fan I am. I read the Prose Edda, the Norse kind of tome of mythology, and the big thing about kind of Norse gods and Ragnarok and all that kind of stuff is it's cyclical. It's not like the universe kind of goes in cycles. Once everything ends, ironically, how it begins anew is some people dig through the rubble and they find a board game and start over. So I would love for us to kind of move in that direction, or get some more hints of what lies beyond, of what's the end game of Heroescape. 360 point Quahan, yeah. But then again, I'm probably thinking too much about it all. But I foresee after Secrets of the Citadel, if they wanted to do like another big release, they would have something like the Twilight of the Valkyrie. Or things are starting just to fall apart. Especially with this time storm going around, like things are starting to become very unstable. But I also want Heroescape to last forever, so I don't have to end it too soon. Also could just see us just going to the desert, because we haven't been there yet, or exploring more portions of the world map that have yet to been revealed. The Ison Expedition, yeah, I want to know what that is. I'm most curious, because I ever since from the beginning I've been having these crackpot ideas of how the Eisenex relate to the Vorids, and I have a whole conspiracy board, and I'm happy that some of my ideas are at least being touched on. But what is the Ison and the Ison Expedition referring to? Is it just what they call themselves? Are all future Eisenach based off these guys? Is it something they discovered? Is it a location? Is it more of like a philosophy? I'm mad how the bio does not elaborate. I love dry brushing. Dry brushing is especially on a model this big, this detailed. It is very fun. I notice how we're using this very bright yellowy green just to really kind of catch the light on this thing. Kratos shows up, a bit overkill. Dragons are one of my favorite things to paint just because they got a lot of ways you can cheat on them. And when you dry brush, you can do it in layers. Like, notice I'm going over some areas that I just want to appear slightly brighter. I think it's a company that's going to find some tech they never should have. That makes sense. That's probably the most obvious answer. Because they make clear intentionality in their bios to represent the similarities between their robotic arms and that of the Reavers. So, color me intrigued. One thing I think would be really interesting to play in kind of the idea of ending things or causing this major disruption of Valhalla. I kind of hope Thorman explores this idea more. Is summoning from Valhalla's own timeline, where you get, you know, things that shouldn't be, like paradoxes, essentially. I think you know, because Valhalla has never had a unit from the past summoned, and I think there's a lot of room to explore that idea a bit. They find the ancient elders that created the Wellsprings. Yeah, I think there's some really fun. There's just some. I just want to know more. I'm curious. But also, I understand that they have to keep it like a slow pace drip feed because they want the game to keep on ending. For now, at least it seems like it's doing pretty good. So they're not like planning the end of things. They're just kind of continuing the story. I'm really excited for those units that weren't revealed to come into fruition. I want me that Aquila Boar Rider for sure. Here's Gabe can turn into Multiverse of Madness very quick, depending on how the story's written. Yeah, I think there's some fun. Time travel in itself is kind of always a potentially a hacky thing to do, but I think displacement of time is more interesting than inherently, you know, time travel or universe jumping. I'm interested to see where they're going. I know a lot of the people that are on dev and staff now have a deeper appreciation for lore than even I do. Like this, I think Secrets of the Citadel really shows that. I think Age of Annihilation kind of didn't. Like they appreciated the lore, but I think they kind of wanted to take it in more of a endless war type of direction instead of kind of a linear narrative. The Ancients of the Stargate TV. I've never seen Stargate. You could take whatever card that is. I heard it's pretty good, and I have heard that I should see it. Okay, now we're cooking with this just lighter texture all over it. This is blending pretty well the layers I did with the airbrush. Catching all this texture really well. Yeah, still hoping for my Revna reviving Utgar theory to come true. I think there's a lot of room for story development for that to happen. I think, imagine our current status of Jandar and Utgar working together, buddy-buddy, Templars and demons from the underworld all holding hands and skipping, and it's working out surprisingly well. Tides are turning, things are being resisted, and then kind of like Revna just revives Utgar, and Utgar is like this undead vengeance with a fury, and he just kills Loviatek like in a heartfelt, and he takes the splinter remnants of his forces and drives them even further. And then that way we can kind of revert to the status quo with even more of like, he is angry now because he's been killed, and he, you know, it's more personal now instead of kind of egal, you know, like he just wants to rule the universe, megalomaniacal. He's like, I am out to kill you specifically, Jandar and friends, because of what you did. I think it'd be interesting. I think there's room for development there. But in the background, Revna is meanwhile kind of still his master. She's the one controlling the strings. That's just a theory. But Revna is definitely coming to play with Utgar. Like it's gotta be. You don't set up Revna being this prolific of a necromancer and not pay it off somehow. Hopefully. Why does Utgar need to be the bad guy? Because his card is red, I think, is the clearest answer I can give. Hero Escape is a tropey game, and you need a tropey bad guy. But I don't think Utgar has to be it. I like the idea of him being a controlled pawn from Revna. And he's kind of this tertiary force, because I think Thorman is emerging as the primary antagonist of Scape at this point. Just waiting for Ular to get his dementia cured. Yeah, Ular's been... Poor Ular. He's never been a major player in this, in this game. He's doing his best. One of these days we'll have a master set entirely devoted to Ular. It'll be Ular's Upcoming. Ular's Rising, where he just really ups his game. I love his units. I love his cards, but he always does seem to be the least lore significant unit, besides from maybe Somlin in the whole game. Yeah, I'm liking this. How we're going about this here. I do think we could use like another neutral evil general in the game. I think something that's like, he's a bad guy, but he's not like a bad guy. I don't know. Maybe, I think Revna was supposed to slot into that, but she's kind of too confusing to fill that role. Like, I don't know how to characterize Revna. Something like where you could have like, these guys are conquerors and they're brutalistic, but they're like, they don't want to like take over the world. They just want to kind of like raid you. Like, I'm thinking like the Mandalorians, like Star Wars, where they're kind of like an oppositional force, but they just want to kind of fight just for the sake of fighting. You know, they don't need to be evil, but they are antagonistic. And World War II were the bad guys, Germany, Japan, and what is the relation to the USA now? Yeah. No, I like Jandar and Utgar. I think it's an interesting turn of events for a while. But we do have that thread of Utgar has to come back. And if he's coming back, I don't foresee him being happy. But I like that his forces have to go into this unstable alliance for sure. Some of the other alliances I'm not as much of a fan of, because I think you could have done more thematically. I think Revna should have teamed up with Ular, just because, based off the lore, they've had a lot of positive interaction in the past. Like, Sonlin himself came and like was an emissary towards her, and I don't know. It feels like this kind of they would have I get it. It's easier to have Ular and Aquila for together, but it's like a hat on top of a hat. Mechanically, it makes sense because you have Dryans and Wizards and Magic and Forest, and it makes sense. But I think it would be cooler for like Aquila and Vidar to team up together. Or like Garsol, Greater Danger to Valhalla needed to unite the other Valkyries take on a Greater Danger. See, I think there are ways we can do it. You know, if we look at like Star Wars, and once again I go to as my point of reference, Star Wars Expanded Lore. If you really go deep into it, Palpatine wanted to create this force to this empire to prevent, you know, like invasion from a distant galaxy. Is, according to some canon, his reason for having this whole galaxy under control. He was trying to prevent total war and annihilation, allegedly, from the what are they? From the 90s space guys. Yuzong Vong, why couldn't I remember that name? But that hasn't really canon anymore. I think there's ways to make it unique. I think there's ways to make it more... I think Utgar could be more complicated now that he's the bad guy. I really like him that he's just hell-bent on revenge. Just the general vengeance. He doesn't care about taking over the world. He just cares about taking out Jandar specifically. And even more specifically, he cares about killing Raylan. Like that's his whole goal. He has no greater purpose anymore. The Kraken needs some Cthulhu-level allies. I hope Thormund's army is revisited with some more units. I hope it's not just Thormund and the Kraken that are just there, because it's kind of like a big development that I could foresee them abandoning pretty fast. So I hope more is done with that. But it also seems like they're kind of pivoting away from that development, unfortunately. I could see Thormund's Time Storm drawing in like landscapes from different planets. So maybe we get like Morrow terrain added to the world. Maybe we get like Solborg terrain. I think there's ways to add, to expand the gameplay with it a bit, which would be nice. Sometimes evil for the sake of evil isn't a bad thing. I agree with that. I think he should be less about control and just more about, I hate you. I think if he returns, he's got to kill Lovey Attack. As a signature, just, he's back. The peace you had, this tenuous alliance, is no more. Alright, let's get some pink going on in his eyes, or maybe some purple. I mean like an Utgar figure like Thormund without the power of the Wellspring Army card. I don't really know what I mean. I'm just talking. I know people would be really against the generals appearing, but imagine like a reincarnated Utgar card where he's not the general, but he is just like I was talking about, just kind of that mad dog off a leash type of deal. Like, I think we need this general that just wants to burn everything. And I think Utgar can kind of evolve into that, because currently he wants to control everything. That could be wrong. Aquila's bio says she harnesses the wildlife of Hala, so unaffiliated feels a bit redundant. I agree. I think Thormund should have just been his own general and just get the Thormund figure, and I think it would have been a lot more interesting to have him be his own unit. And I think Thormund's the one who's just summoning all these big in-game units. But I'm interested to see if they do anything more with him. If generals do appear as playable figures, I think making them scenario-specific bosses would be a safer approach. Probably. I never bought the idea that we're the generals playing the game. Like, that conceit is never presented, and you're kind of playing more scenarios of the generals, either allying or teaming up together. But I never think I'm Jandar playing this army, especially with how loose army building is. So I personally am not against having the generals. Like, I would like a general box where they're like big and tall and have strong powers, and I don't know, but I could also see it being overpowered. Maybe like a depowered version of them all and a boss scenario version, kind of like what they did. I'm just brainstorming here. Or just avoid it. It's probably easier just to avoid them. But I think the last units released could be the generals themselves. I'd be happy with that. Let's get more of a warm yellow going here. Yeah, exactly. If you had to be like only play your one general or your army building was restricted, then yeah, it makes sense that you're playing as a general. Or even if you had to abide by like the current alliance of the storyline, but you can have knights bond with Sir Hawthorne. Like, there's no that's the appeal, is just the open army restrictions is fun. The open lack of army restrictions is pretty fun. The Crimson Fleet feels like an official expression of the ragtag assorted playstyle. I like the Crimson Fleet. I just don't think, on a lore perspective, that we have enough. We have enough units in the Pirates' army to justify how much of a threat they feel like. I've played the Pirates. I'm never too scared when I'm up against them. I think just some more figures going to the Crimson Fleet would be really appreciated, especially from a storytelling angle. And we're just adding some more highlights here. Because I like the unaffiliated tag. I feel like the Pirates should have had that to begin with. I never liked how they were assigned to their general. I don't think there's going to be much more pirates now they're releasing. Yeah, probably. I hope they come back. I think pirates are a really fun faction, and they could really use just some competitive presence. Like they're fun for stories and campaign modes, stuff like that, but they just need a little bit of, like, they've gotten some strong boosters. I think Eel is going to be a really strong booster for the pirates. But even still, the problem with the pirates is they all cost too much. Like, you want to run every pirate and like with Admiral and with Crimson, and there's just not enough points. Like, Admiral Jim is just so important to the builds of that flexibility, but he costs so much that you can't really include much in the pirate builds. I wish he was less good and cheaper. I wish he was like a 100-point figure that just slotted into every pirate army. But it's tough. They also just need like a ranged unique squad that bonds. Like, we have the Exiles, or even just like a hero that just kind of bonds with admirals would be nice. Like a common hero type of deal. Would units having 2 generals break the game? That is a fascinating question. I can't think of any specific examples. It honestly depends on the card. I'm sure there are things that would make it tricky. But if something's both Ular and Utgar, per se, you know, like, the biggest thing is you get the benefits of 2 flag bearers, but then you have to draft 2 flag bearers in your army, and like, that's, you know, most of your half to a third of your army right there for a game. I think classes does more damage than generals does, and I don't think classes does that much damage, because Hero Skip is already designed around such a wide open synergy webs that I'm trying to think of a specific thing that is. I can't think of some, like, it creates new bonding things. I could see something more like Dernipa, where you can change your general to any general you want it to be. Some kind of unit that does that. And I think, but I'm trying to think of like what breaks the game, like, because there's not a lot of general specific synergy tags, at least in Classic Scape. In New Scape there's a bit more, but like, even the Knights just need a human champion. Gladiators just need a human gladiator. Dwarves just need a dwarf. So there's not a lot of general synergy. Yeah, I don't see why anyone would field a Bach Burnout though for a pirate builder army. Yeah, he's just too much points and not strong enough. He needs like 1 more defense. Pirates, the problem is the pirates are all maxed out on attack and movement, and they really just need some bulky like units that sit around for a while. That's why I like Thorman and Eel, because they just can exist and abide on the front lines. The problem with pirates is I think their chosen captain should have just given them a flat defensive bonus instead of a bonus against range, because at the end of the day, the knaves of the Silver Scimitar, if they're rolling 3 defense or 2 defense against a ranged attack, it's not making that much of a difference. But at least when I play them, I rush up, I'm rolling 4 or 5 attack, and you have 1 whiff, and then next order marker gets revealed, and then they just kill them all because I wasn't able to kill everyone in that 1 turn. But I think Delta Buckburner has some fun. He's really fun in a Thorman build. If you really just want to put some hurt on your opponents, that -1 defense against your opponents adds up. But he just needs better stats. If he had 4 defense, he'd be really good. And also, I think his Cutlass should just be an auto thing. I don't think it should be like, it's a really high roll to heal. Like, he should just heal when he kills an adjacent figure. Like, I think he's overtuned, for sure. I would never pay 120 points for him in a build. Honestly, if his Terror Enhancement worked for both Pirates and Morrow, he'd be a great unit to draft. They need to be versatile. I feel like some of the original Age of Annihilation units were a little bit too locked in. Like now I think we're going a little bit too far in the opposite direction, but I do feel like some of them could have benefited from just a bit broader synergy webs. But they were designed to build a master set that was kind of its own thing. So I both don't like it and appreciate it, if I can be a centralist on that issue. Like, I like that the Romans just bond with it, and the Sacred Band is tough when they can just bond with Einar Warlords. It does make balancing difficult, and it has its own layer of problems that can kind of be brought on by it as well, but I like it. I like being able to make 10 different builds from one guy. There aren't enough small medium units in RuneScape for Lockburna. That is very true. Like, that's why the Bears dominated for so long. There was just no anti-large tech against them. Like, he just oh, is it size restricted? I didn't even know that about Blockburna. I thought it was just kind of flat. That's size restricted. That makes them a lot worse. With the filler coming out, you can take Fia and something else over BN as well. Yeah, he's gonna fall to the wayside. I think he's the way of Moorsbane, I'd say. And it's just kind of like, for that amount of points and the amount to set it up, like, I'd rather just choose Raylan and have a bulkier, stronger hitting unit that lowers everyone's defense against everything for less points than Blockburna is. You lose a little bit of range to attack, but I mean, that's okay. I'll live. It's harder to set up, doesn't bond, but nowadays it does. Like, yeah, I feel like he's just overcosted. I think he's an okay unit. I think he's a unit that should have been like 70 points. And he's seen a lot of play. Even Subakna High Supremacy doesn't impact me enough. No. Subakna should have given all heroes like a +2 and all squads a +1. I would have loved to see. But that was back when things were simpler. Just to make him worthwhile. Or just give Subakna 4 defense. For some reason, I never understood, like, the problem with Classic HeroScape is the whole game is balanced around the idea that Raylan is going to be in everyone's army. So all heroes have like 2 less defense than they're supposed to have. Is what it feels like. That's my conspiracy theory. Is that classic heroes just do not have enough survivability for the state of the game as it's currently played. Because if I had a hero that could be at 4 places simultaneously and make 4 attacks of 3 from 6 spaces away, you could say that's a pretty broken hero. And he had 4 lives. You say that's a pretty broken hero. He needs to be like 160 points. But then it's just like, oh yeah, no, that's just a 75 point just a Revolutionary Warfighter. And it's just kind of like, it feels disparate. And if he only attacks 1 time, he's spending 4 order markers to kill 1 squad. Blockburna's aura only works when being attacked by an adjacent pirate. Oh, it's just adjacent? That's really bad. I thought it was just -1 from any attack from a pirate, but from an adjacent pirate? That's pretty bad. Any Morrow comments I dream up as a future release? You know, that'd be a fun video to make with Joe Crazy, is what Morrow we would like to see. I want flying. I want gene spliced Morrow. Kyrie Morrow is my top one. I also think we need a really bulky, like, heavy grunt version of Morrow. Like imagine kind of like drones 2.0 instead of being fast and skirmishy. They're just like, they have like built-in shields. It's just kind of slow moving tanky Morrow, I think would be really nice to have, because like they all kind of fill in the same design niche. It'd be nice to have also just some kind of squad, some kind of weird squad that bonds with overlords and war witches, just to give my boy Tolbakra a little bit of love. I love him, but he is just not that good. The female single squad with no market protection in your other squads. It's the coolest idea to come with. You need to make a VC submission. I should make a VC submission. I have a lot of ideas. I honestly just don't know how to do it. I probably should do some research into it. Just played a game after Crimson Widow came out thinking BBN was a pirate. The double attack, both having +1, felt really good. It could have been a double class, both pirate and captain. Here's my hot take. I think we just remove that distinction and make them all just pirates. No captain, weird captain synergy. Just say you can bond with a pirate you can control. And that fixes so many problems with the pirate faction. Because they're kind of designed around having this captain in their squad, but like they need a couple captains to be fully utilized. I don't know. I feel like they're undercooked and overcooked at the same time. I think just remove the captain restriction for the bonding and just say take a turn with the pirate you control, and all captains are just pirates. Removes a class off of Thorman. It removes the weird phrasing on the cards. It tidies them up. They're very simple, very easy to understand, and there you go. But Bachburner should have been. I thought he was a pirate. So he doesn't even get a benefit from his own aura? That's terrible. I haven't looked at Bachburner in a while. Yeah, Bachburner needs some love. What was your thoughts on Renegade not allowing proxies of Classic Escape? I mean, it makes sense. No one wants to say it, but it is effectively stealing from someone who doesn't care. I'm thankful that Renegade hasn't cracked down on 3D prints any further than they could have. They could have really brought the hammer down and closed up all that exists there. So if I had to choose between both options, I mean, it makes sense. They can't legally endorse something that's not technically legal to be gotten. I mean, it's just the legality of it. I'm glad they're allowing it at your locals. You know, they're not cracking down, but they're manufactured with Hasbro. Now, not to say that they couldn't have. I would love to see them do more. I really think they should release legacy STLs that are legal in contemporary formats. I don't think they ever will because they seem set on that. But if they just released a Touch Double Saga STL that you could play, you buy it, you print it, it comes with a redesigned card art. You pay a price for it, download it. It's a touched up model, and you can play it at contemporary events. That would be fun. I think it's a route that could be explored, but I don't know if they could. So I guess I'm more understanding than other people, because at the end of the day, all those models are technically illegally scanned. I'm not going to narc anyone that uses them because no one also is making profit on them. It's like when you play Pokemon emulators, like just sell the game, Nintendo, and I'll play it, and maybe put home integration in too while you're at it. But just a town by attack a pirate. I need to look at Bachburner now. That's the problem. Because I haven't looked at his card in some time. I think at the end of the day, it only affects one evening of Gen Con with low attendance. What is that a reference to? I don't remember what we're talking about. But yeah, it's not the end of the day. Oh yeah, at the end of the day. Oh, for proxies, yeah, that's the only thing it affects. If I was a little bit more of a munchkin, it would be my goal to see how much realistic I could print and paint my figures to see if they can get by. Because I think I could probably bypass some things if I was to brag a little bit. But yeah, it is what it is. It's a 20-year-old game that part of it's no longer in reproduction. Like, it's just, we have it better than a lot of other games where you're in a third, fourth edition and your whole set you just bought is unviable. So I love that we can keep on playing with our old stuff. Yeah, bringing units that have already been well loved and tested, and also just gives you breathing room for new escape. Yeah, just have them release Roman STLs, and then you're set. You don't have to remake a squad that is just Romans but different enough to justify you having them. I think honestly they don't need to be so scared of not making things that have existed before. Like, just redesign the Roman figures. Like, and just, you don't need to start from the ground up. I appreciate the 2.0s. I appreciate the story development, but I think there are just some classic things that would be. I don't think we need every unit reprinted and available. Like we're talking about Moorsman. Like, he's not at the top of people's wish list. He's just a guy. But I think like the Izumi Samurai, even something as like simple as that, if I think they serve a place in the meta that would be nice to have. Maybe not Izumi, but some of the other samurai. I don't see how it's legal to make a proxy, but I appreciate how it could be tough for a charity host. Could have rule issues poorly made or not a given scope. Proxies. Chris Perkins actually brought a clear red, obvious proxy Gen Con and waited for him to say he needs to switch it out before replacing it with an original model. Yeah, Chris Perkins is he's bolder than I am. It's illegal in the sense that it's not someone's property and you're stealing it. It's someone else's licensed IP. Someone, whoever owns the right to those models isn't getting, still has control of it. But in terms of punishable legality, it's the 3D printing is a wild west of a thing right now. There's not a lot of rules and regulations on it. But it's like you're at a book signing and you find the PDF online and you print all the books out, all the pages out, and staple it together and say, can you sign your book? And they may be like, why didn't you buy the book? And you say, because I wanted to make it myself. There's just a bit of gray area that if I was a company, I would like to avoid. But yeah, I mean, props to Chris, I guess, for doing it. I don't think it's so I'm definitely against people scanning and printing at least the actual models of the escape that's being produced, mainly just because I want the game to stay alive. But the moment the game is killed again, I strongly encourage everyone to do that. It's a weird standpoint to be on, and I don't have a lot of legal justification. It's just like, at the end of the day, I'm not a fan of stealing as much as possible. Like, if they had all the classic prints available for purchase, I would probably purchase them if I was going to sell them, just because I felt like it's someone else sculpted it, someone else modeled it. I like to support people that create things as much as I'm feasible to. But also I like having things accessible for people who don't have as much money to do so. So I fall into the centralist category. I'm fine with people just using proxies of like, Candyland figures in the game. It depends on how much you care about the model and how much the actual model does. Because then it kind of opens up a whole range of like, do you want to print other models? And because Escape is a weird game where the model itself does matter. Like, it's the height and the viewpoint, the visibility. So it's just an interesting spot. Because your book is 12 years out of print and sells for $200. Yeah. Yeah, if you're asking me if I think it should be allowed, then yes. My answer is I think it should be allowed. But if you're asking me, I also understand why it's not. It's not a fight I'm willing to fight in that regard. I think it's just lost money on Renegade's part. I think they're just leaving money on the table by not doing anything with that desire for that nostalgia. Just people want it, and 3D printing is a available technology. And if it was me, I would capitalize on it instead of making it harder for people. But that's tough. Renegade was selling classic figures, I then see where 3D prints not being allowed. Yeah, it's all complicated. It's all a big mess, and I'm honestly not educated enough to comment too much on it. This is more firing from the hip opinions in all that regard. It's just, if I'm an official company and people are, what people don't want to admit is that Renegade never wants you to play with classic figures ever again. Like, and I say that lovingly and understandingly. They don't care about what came before in the sense of a corporate marketplace, because there's no money for them with you wanting to play with your dwarves. By restricting the proxies and restricting all that stuff, it does create the sense that Heroescape doesn't, so ultimately it comes down to Heroescape doesn't know if it's a rebrand, a relaunch, or a continuance. And sometimes a lot of the pain points definitely fall on where people view it. Is Heroescape being rebranded and completely starting anew with just vague references to the past? It doesn't feel like that. Is it a relaunch? You know, completely ground up. It relies too much on classic to be there. So it's a continuance. So there is this like a bit of stretch and pull of you know, what I have all these figures, and the most dedicated players are the ones that have these figures. So it's in a weird spot because it's not in like, it's not Heroescape 2.0. Here's the updated rule sets. Your old figures are incompatible. Don't even mention them. It'd be nice if they worked together, but we're not even thinking about it. But they all work together, and it's just I don't think anyone has an answer to it. But that's just for Gen Con. If you just go to Gen Con, if you are, SASCon, I went to SASCon, which had Valkyrie trials at, and people were running proxies. And there's not like Renegade police that are going to come and break down your door for running proxies. This creates excitement for new figures often hinges on synergy with old units, enhancing support, old scape, increases value of all new product. I definitely agree. I definitely think they should explore more options to get that classic stuff in. I think it's just a fight I'm not willing to fight. There's so much new stuff that I would just want to play with the new stuff, and I'm glad that works with the old stuff. But I also understand how people would want to play with the old stuff with the new stuff. I think of it very much like Gen 5 of Pokemon, where people were very upset that you don't get to play with your old Pokemon from previous gens, and you were locked to playing with the new stuff. And that caused a lot of friction with that game. And is it justified? Maybe. I mean, like, you have all these experiences, and a lot of these team building would have been better with classic Pokemon, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, no, I think there's, if we're to summarize it, I'm certainly not being contentious with you. I think I'm just trying to be more of a middleman for both sides of the issue. Is that I wish there was more room to explore classic units in a way that made both sides happy, that funded the game as well as made it affordable and accessible for the player base. You know, and since Scape is built on so many classic things that did exist beforehand, it'd be nice that if I could go to a contemporary tournament with some of my classic buddies with me. Renegade is a company that exists to make money. How dare they? Yeah, it's complicated. I don't have an answer to it, but if like it said, it's one event at Gen Con where they really care. Maybe Adepticon, but for every other Valkyrie trial, every other event, it's either contemporary only, so you don't even have proxies. Which I think contemporary only is a lot more of a that's more of a hot button, I think, for people than the proxy itself issue. Is just a lot of people don't want to play strict with the new stuff, and I think up until recently, I don't blame them because the meta was pretty restricted. I'm hoping that the meta kind of expands, and you know, we get a lot more diversified army building. I think that really explains the mindset behind Secrets of the Citadel. They're really wanting to create the ability to make 10 different armies with 3 different guys, which is nice. I appreciate that. I have no problem with them making money. No, I don't have a problem with them making money. I just wish they made less money off of me. They have me hook, line, and sinker. I don't. That's why I try to when I like they release new stuff. I try to do a pretty neutral review because I just know I'm too biased to even comment on all this type of stuff. They have me. I admit they'd have to mess it up pretty badly to stop my loyalty for this game, which is unfortunate on the long run because I don't have a lot of objectivity for a lot of things. Here is Ruby and Sapphire Pokemon. The Renegade collapses tomorrow. There's now a surplus of new terrain and figures now available to keep the community running even longer. I agree. I've had a lot of my stuff and I've been carrying around mainly for years just so I could play with my kids when they're old enough. And I was getting really concerned because a lot of my stuff was crumbling to dust. And I was like, by the time they're old enough to play seriously with me, I think I might not have any like pieces left. We'll be playing on like cardboard cutouts. So if for nothing else, if Renegade ends right now, I'm happy with what I have, and I'm happy with the new figures and the new interest and how I'm talking about this right now. There's a lot of good things that have come from it, even coming back for the short time. But it seems like they have plans for several years in the future, so I'm looking forward to that as well. Review is simple. If I pay less than 20 per figure, I'm cool. Yeah, I think they could definitely stand to. I don't think they're perfect. I think there's definitely room for some pack distribution mix-ups. I think unpainted should be far more cheaper than it is now. Like, unpainted shouldn't be $10 cheaper than painted, because I feel like I'm shouldering a lot of the cost and I have to do a lot of the work afterwards, which I enjoy, but not everyone does. A lot of people buy unpainted just because it's cheaper. So I hope the unpainted goes down. I don't know about pre-painted because that's just a tougher thing to have metrics for. But yeah, I would love just a single pack of commons for 25 bucks. When I'm at the game store, I was like, oh, I'll pick this up. I'll add this to my collection. Where it starts to approach like 50 bucks, I'm kind of like, I don't know. They make mistakes here and there, but I'm rooting for them to keep the game going on the community. Yeah, if for nothing else, I just want the community to keep on growing, to be meeting new people and have new interests in the game. At the end of the day, that's my ultimate goal. I don't want to sound like a company man, like, oh, but I find it, I want the game to succeed, and I find that being more positive about it has better impact than being negative overall. But that's just my outlook. I appreciate the people that stepped up and said changes need to be made, but I don't think I'm one of those people. I'm more here just trying to encourage and help people out, focus on the positives. I've spent so much of my life being hypercritical and hyper negative, and it just brought misery to me. So I'm kind of more on my personal journey where I'm just trying to enjoy things when they come and just appreciate when they come around. I think in order for unpainted to get cheaper, pre-painted would make it more expensive. I mean, no, I understand that. I'm in a weird spot because I like painting all the guys, so I'm like good. But I also know that a lot of people in this community don't. So for their respect and their enjoyment, I'll keep on shouldering the cost, a little bit. With just a grudge here and there, but no, it's yeah. I just want some metrics on the game. Honestly, I would love to know how the game is doing. Like, are they like financially successful? Are they like struggling? Like, I don't know. It's so hard to know and hard to tell, but I'm here for the ride. Buying the painted Imperial Cane for 40 bucks was a hard pill to swallow. Yeah, that's probably the worst purchase in the entire game. Like, not worst purchase, but like, it's the one that feels the toughest when you get it, because you're just like, especially at the time, because Imperial Arcane didn't have any synergy or any really good use, except aside for like casual matchups. It's just like, man. But now it's almost worse because now he's becoming kind of good with Chaingrets and other guys. So I wish Imperial Arcane was like the Hellforge, where he was like 20 bucks because he's smaller than the Hellforge. Yeah, that was a tough purchase for sure. Yeah, but like the Maladrix box felt really good when you opened it up. It's a big old model with 5-person squad. Like that one felt good. Yeah, sometimes the boxes feel a little disproportionate. Like especially like even in Secrets of the Citadel, you have like a giant mech dragon and a squad with it, or you have like 3 dudes or 3 or 4 dudes, and sometimes and they're the same cost. You're just kind of like, yeah. So yeah, that was a tough one. Maybe I'll paint this guy up and do him as a giveaway for someone who just want to shoulder that cost. Because I have one I'm pretty happy with already. All right, y'all. I think I'm really enjoying this conversation, being grilled on the hard facts, but my voice is about shot, so I think I'm going to call it for the night. It's wild to me how quickly tackled that dragon. Looked like each piece like the assembly line. Yeah. It's. I mean, I do it enough. I should be at least moderately fast. You just get faster at it. You know, if you look at it, I just cheated the entire time. I took a lot of shortcuts, and once you kind of figure out the shortcuts for painting, I think you become a happier painter. It's especially for things that aren't like showcase level. You're just trying to kind of get some paint on, try some things. It's just kind of having an order operation, and also I have a bunch of people to talk to, so that also helps. It kind of helped me stay focused on what I needed to do. So, well, thank you for the compliment either way. Painted Major Q11 for $20 is a good price to me. Yeah, I agree. That's a pretty good price. He's probably the best price promo, I'd say. Have fun watching Star Wars Vision. It's so good. Yeah, I've watched a couple of them so far, and I'm enjoying it. I'm not even a big anime guy, but I am a fan of it. Bye. Yeah, thanks for the comments, Roseheart. Always enjoyable to have some repertoire back and forth. No, I definitely agree with your points, for sure. And you know, if I was CEO of Renegade, all the proxies all the time, for sure. Good night. And did you end up going to Disney? No, I didn't go to Disney. I did not make it. I didn't want to go, so I'm glad I didn't had reason to not to go. Quote from 2010 Falcon campaign: "The room is cast in hues of purple from the glow of bioluminescent plants, and an eerie green from mystic flames dancing along the wall." Yeah, it does feel like we're jumping right back into that, and I've always been excited. Felt like the Underdark wasn't explored enough, so I'm glad we're diving back into that. As I said at the beginning of the stream, this month marks our 3 years of the Roguescaper channel. So expect some announcements, some giveaways, getting some things kind of arranged on what I want to do. A video will be coming, and we got some more stuff in the works. Editing away. Just thanks for talking, and I'm talking longer past my stay. So, quick look at this dragon. Well, looking pretty good. You all have a good night.